roof of the gold sands is raised. Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
Good evening, Bournemouth fans. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cherries 0 at Hillsborough tonight. We've only got ourselves to blame, haven't we? It was another night where Bournemouth failed to find their rhythm. It was poor. The Cherries team tonight was littered with so much quality. So much so, all of our subs have got top-tier experience, but the team played and looked so far apart and not on the same wavelength. Was the problem having three individuals up front rather than playing a link-up player like Dom? Was the formation an issue, or do we need to hark back to the podcast on Sunday and just repeat the fact that to accomplish anything remotely close to promotion, we need players to accomplish the basics of passing balls to feet, being strong on the ball, retaining possession, and not playing wasteful balls over the top? Anyway, had a chat on Twitter about this in the week, and you know what? I'll try to be positive. I'll let you do the talking tonight. And if you want to get involved, just grab a pair of headphones and go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. I'll pop the link at the bottom of the screen. There it is. And yeah, as soon as you get on, make sure you got some headphones, as I say, and just wait, and we'll try to bring you in as quickly as possible. But probably for the last time in a while, given that lockdown is happening on Thursday, we've got Tom Jordan with us here. And Tom Jordan, you're always Mr. Positive, which I absolutely admire. But unfortunately tonight, there wasn't a lot to be that positive about, was there?
No, there wasn't at all, Sam. It was, bad from start to finish, I thought. I kind of, at half-time, even though it was frustrating, I thought, to be fair, we've seen this a lot. And we seem to wake up in the second half, which is not something that we want to have to do. But we seem to be able to pull something out of the bag. But it just wants to be tonight. Obviously, whether they would have got a goal, I'm not sure. They didn't look, at the bottom of the table for a reason. I know they've got the points deduction, but they haven't been on a good run. Whether they would have got a goal, maybe not. We might have had that unbeaten tag still, but I don't think we would have won the game if Cookie had stayed on the pitch. We didn't look like scoring. Really frustrating, like you said. On paper, people were really excited about the lineup, and it just shows what I say: the best players don't make the best teams. And I think as much as I love that side that we had out there tonight, like you just mentioned there. Someone like a Dom Solanke up front might not score the goals, connects things better. I don't think the front three worked well together. I don't think the midfield got close enough to the attackers either. Just nothing really went right tonight. I don't think anyone had a good game. And when that happens, you're going to really struggle to win football matches.
How much credit do we need to give to Sheffield Wednesday? Because they were very disciplined, and I thought that they, on the grand scheme of things, they completely deserved the 3 points. And there was a certain player in their midfield that was pulling the strings for them, wasn't there? Yeah,
I thought Barry Bannon was brilliant, and he ended up scoring the penalty as well, didn't he? I always thought he was quite a clever footballer. He's a good passer of the ball. But yeah, I felt they probably looked at our previous performances and thought, just press them, get on them high, and make it difficult for them. They did that really well. I thought first half they were just on us every time. And like you said, our passing though, in possession. I mean, first half we were awful, but we had nearly 60% of the ball, but we didn't do anything with it. They had more shots. I thought Brooksy clearly rusty because, that's not the David Brooks I know. He gave the ball away more in the first 20 minutes than I've ever seen him give a ball away. But a lot of them tonight, no one really had a great game tonight, let's be honest. And I think I mentioned to you or on the podcast not long ago about the fact that Dan Juma seems to be a different player when he comes off the bench, and he was poor tonight, and it didn't happen tonight. And like I say, we've had that unbeaten run. A lot of people have been, I've tried to keep positive. A lot of people I've understood the points of view of, yes, we're unbeaten, but have we been playing that well? And I agree. We haven't been playing that well. There was a few games that we probably got away with it through bits of magic, Raquelme, Dan Juma, where we probably should have lost. But we've lost now, and this is time to see how can JT turn the boys around after a defeat, because we haven't had to deal with that yet. And it'll be interesting to see our reaction at the weekend, because a bit of a wake-up call.
But it is a monkey off our back now, the fact that we have finally got our loss.
I quite liked it, though.
Yeah, of course. And it'll be good to see, as you say, what kind of reaction we'll give. But when you looked at the team, that starting 11 looked superb. And, the only change you'd probably make is, Jack Stacey would probably be in there if you had to have the strongest 11, maybe Lewis Cook for someone like Dan Gosling. But other than that, you look at that attacking trio, and I was licking my lips at thinking, how many goals are we going to score tonight?
Yeah, no, I agree. It looked it looks so good on paper. I mean, I'm not being funny, but that team looked like that's a top half Premier League team. Do you know what I mean? Especially the front. But as I say, it's sometimes we've said loads of times about that kind of Daniels Pew partnership and stuff like that. And sometimes you need them little links, you need them connections, and that three, I can't really remember ever playing as a three together, and things like that take time. And I just, like I say, I wonder if I totally agree with the point that he's not a goal scorer, but I felt we missed Dom for large parts, like just them little connections and things like that, linking things up. I don't think Josh was particularly good at leading the line on his own, really. I thought he was a bit isolated. I will say that I don't think the front three was supported brilliantly. Yeah. Whether Jeff and Goz both being in there as well, I don't think Goz got forward like he normally makes them runs. And But to be fair, Sheffield Wednesday pressed us and we couldn't get out. But even the wing-backs don't think... But everyone was bad. So no one had a good game. There were some that weren't horrific. Cookie when he was on the pitch, Lloyd Kelly, they weren't awful, but they weren't good. And if you have 11 players out there and all of them are below par, you're going to struggle to win games away from home in the Championship. And like I say, it's a disappointing one and they deserve criticism tonight, but I'm almost in a weird way kind of thinking, right, let's see. I'm interested now. Let's see how we react. Let's see what JT could do on the back of a win. That's when you know about a team, when how can they respond? And I'm glad it's come now and not going into an international break, so we can kind of, right, we've got Saturday to turn it around. And I believe they can turn it around. We've got the quality. But yeah, we haven't performed well lately. We've been getting it out of the bag, and that's where I've kind of been saying, look, we're still getting the results. Tonight we haven't. They deserve the criticism because we haven't turned up that bit of magic and got away with it. We deserve to lose, and that's a wake-up call, and we've probably deserved that defeat, not only for tonight, but for the last few weeks. So let's see what happens now, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. They say, don't they, that they 10 games in, you start looking at the table. We went 9 without losing. 10, we're still not in the worst position in the world. I think if you look at performances, you'd probably say we should be performing a little bit better. There's only been, for Blackburn, we look good going forward. Coventry, there was spells in other game, but they're all spells. There hasn't been long enough periods of being quality. But yeah, let's see. We're not in the worst position in the world. Let's turn it around and keep faith. And we got the players, and let's just hope that that's a bit of a wakey for the players.
Good man. Tom,
we'll
nice to see you, mate.
Yeah. Keep your heads up, boys. Come on.
Yeah, and we're going to be hearing more from Tom over the next few weeks, including player ratings tomorrow. So yeah, really looking forward to hearing his ratings on that one, especially. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It all really helps. And also give this video a thumbs up now. We would really appreciate it. And I've got my own love-hate relationship with Sheffield Wednesday. I loved them after we went there and won 2-0. I hated them when they pulled it back to make it 2-2. I loved them when Ati Nui scored that goal against Watford to win us the title. Now I hate them again. So maybe we'll beat them in the return fixture. We don't know. But anyway, we've got loads of people standing by, including Craig Beasley, Kirk, Neil, Louis, Dylan, and Daniel as well. Right, I'm going to bring in Craig, Neil, and Kirk all at the same time. So good evening, gentlemen. Let's start with Neil Whedon, who came on first. Neil, you don't look overly pleased.
Yeah, I've just seen he's gone out on the Bake Off, son.
Yeah. That's the highlight.
Yeah, that has been the highlight of my evening, seeing those ice cream desserts melting. It is poor, isn't it? And just picking up on something that Tom said earlier on about consistency. I mean, not only have we not been consistent through a game, over the last, I was just thinking back, 2 years, we haven't really had consistent performers at any time during that period. I don't know what's going on. I mean, we started off again so slowly. For half an hour, we hardly played. Whether we're this changing the team every game is too much, and we can't get that consistency going. I don't know, but it's if you switch the TV on 2 years ago and switch tonight on, you wouldn't really tell much of a difference, would you? We were still playing at the same pace. A lot of the same players and the same sort of results. It's just not good. I fear for the manager, to be honest.
Kirk, how are you feeling?
I got 2 positives for you, actually.
Go on.
It's great seeing my old friend Craig Beasley again. Yeah.
It is, yeah, great to see him.
It's lovely to see his face. And also, we could probably thank the government for a change that they restricted us from being in Sheffield Wednesday in Sheffield tonight. So that's got to be a positive, isn't
it? yeah, that's very true. But what was your analysis today?
Let's shelve formations and let's shelve tactics. Before you get that deep, you've got to do the basics. Now, when you've got players who can't even put the right boots on and can't decide between blades and studs, it's not a very good start. When you can't pass 10 yards or cross a football half decently, you're not going to do well. And when your tactic, which is what I mentioned on Saturday, which I don't even know where this tactics come from. I know I said I wasn't going to mention tactics, but when you play the ball from Mepham to Cook to Kelly and 50 yards, Robert Hoof it up the pitch, what is that? Literally, what are we doing? I don't want to come on here. I try and be positive. I try and challenge the team. But that first half was like the other three. And would you think there was 21 places between the teams today? Poor.
You wouldn't know. Hopefully, Craig, you can hear us okay? We can't hear you at the moment, so you may just need to lose. Yeah, no problem. We can hear you now. Just take him out. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, mate.
No problem. Kirk's expressed a lot of, bordered on anger there. But how did you feel after seeing that?
I was just so disappointed. It was the worst performance I've seen for a long, long time. Danjuma, he put everything he's done well. Like Kirk mentioned, he's slipping all over the place. Incredibly disappointed with him tonight, especially. Josh King didn't do much at all. It was only when we went 1-0 down that I saw anything from him, really. I thought the back three were all right. Of course, when Cookie got sent off, a massive problem. Massive problem. But before that point, they did all right. But yeah, very, very disappointed. Against a very poor team. Sheffield Wednesday are a poor side.
It's interesting actually. We put a sort of mini 2-minute preview out on Twitter, and a lot of their fans were basically saying, you're going to win tonight because we're awful. But I didn't think that they were that bad. And as I say, I was really impressed with Barry Bannon, but we made them look good by being poor. Now, Neil, obviously we've got a team that is supposed to have attacking flair, and we are seeing none of it. As I said in my sort of monologue at the start, do you think the problem tonight was having basically 3 attacking individuals, because there was barely any link play between them? There was only one moment that I can remember at the start of the second half when Danjuma put a ball over the top to King, who missed it well, and the defender managed to tackle it, get a foot on it, and then King played in Brooks, who blazed it over. But that's the only thing that I remember in the whole game where they linked up at all.
Yeah, our creative players are playing right at the top of the pitch. And so we've got nothing really in midfield, have we? We've been overrun in midfield in a number of games where we've only played 2 central midfielders. So maybe we've got one too many up top, and maybe we need to break more from midfield if we're playing with a 3, say, in midfield, with one attacking player in there and 2 more sort of holding midfielders, perhaps. But we're not getting any value really for the 3 attacking midfielders, the 3 creative the 3 creative players right at the top of the pitch. By the time it gets to them, there's nothing that much for them to do with it.
Yeah, completely agree. And there are some interesting comments here, like the Championship teams have already worked us out, and they did really well tonight, Sheffield Wednesday. But sometimes you've got to feel that we are the architects of our own demise. Neil, we're going to rotate it around quite a bit.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, we'll let you go tonight, and
good to see you guys.
Have a glass of vino or something to drown your sorrows.
I'll do something desperate. Yeah. Okay.
Cheers,
I hope you see me next time.
Yeah, thank you very much. In the meantime, we'll bring in Ashley, who is standing by as well. Rich, Louis, Dylan, Daniel will all get round to you too. But Craig, carry on. You're about to say something there.
So I just saw a on screen from Charlie, and it was that Tom Solanke. As much as annoying as he can be, you know, and he isn't going to be our 3-goal season striker. Personally, apart from
I tell you what, Craig,
fans,
your audio's a little muffly, I've got to say. I don't know if you're hearing that same, Kirk. You're a little bit
Yeah.
muffly at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll just mute you for a minute, and hopefully you can sort out those issues. And in the meantime, I'll bring in Ashley, and also Rich is standing by too. But yeah, Ashley, oh mate, not great, eh?
No, I mean, I think I've said to you before, I actually think we've been like this for about 18 months. We were the season before we were relegated. I thought from the spring onwards we were poor. I thought we were poor through last season. I think we've become such a predictable team to play against. You know, if you're playing against us, you're going to press us high up the pitch. I don't think we've got the players that are good enough to play out from the back, the sort of football that we want to play. And the shape just doesn't work at the moment. We're outnumbered in the centre of the pitch. We didn't need to play effectively three guys at centre back today. I'd rather have seen us go 4-4-2 and actually really had a go at them. And one of the things that really struck me was in the first half, if you kind of froze the play when we were in possession, we almost had our entire team facing towards our own goal for most of the time. Apart from the ball carrier, there was no one trying to find a pocket or taking a ball on a turn and driving towards goal. But I just think it's been like it for ages. I really do. It's so frustrating.
So do you think it's more the formation rather than the personnel? Because, you know, individually the players are decent, but for some reason at the moment they can't string two passes together.
I don't know. I mean, I've always been one to kind of moan at the players, but I'm starting to, you're starting to wonder about how they're actually prepared for the game. You know, what is going on during the week when they're putting the team together? What are they talking about? What's the quality of training like? You know, when you look at that team on paper, you know, we should go up automatically when you look at that squad. There's no question about that. You know, and it doesn't matter whether we're playing Sheffield Wednesday or if we're playing Reading who are top. You know, we're quite capable of beating all those sides. So it's a bit of a mystery, really, isn't it? I don't think, we've all got different opinions, but, you've got very good players who are underperforming. But also, are they not being prepared and coached properly? I don't know.
Yeah. Go on, Kurt.
Well, I wouldn't want to really compare the two teams because it was under a different manager. But I mean, one thing you can't excuse from Eddie Howe is we were always quite fast out the blocks, weren't we? We always sort of hit the team's early doors. I would say pretty much for the last 3 or 4 games, we've been completely the opposite under JT. We can criticise Eddie for being slow and undecisive with substitutions, and JT's been the opposite there. I mean, from a formation point of view, I've liked the 3-4-3, but we've discussed this in detail, Sam, off the podcast in regards that I don't think we're playing it how we started to play it on the opening day of the season. And I think my personal view on the 3-4-3 is I've always sort of liked it, but we started to play it differently because teams decided to drop off 20, 30 yards and be more compact. And we couldn't, for some reason, because we should have the talent, we couldn't break the lines down. So obviously I thought today, and when I set up my lineup, I thought go with a back 4, have 2 screening that back 4, and then almost have 4 forward players. And let's see if that encourages Sheffield Wednesday to come out of their blocks and push up a bit. Because to play the 3-4-3 effectively like we did against West Ham and Blackburn, we need teams to go toe-to-toe with us. And recently teams aren't doing that. Now, funnily enough, Sheffield Wednesday actually did that. They actually went toe-to-toe and had the better chances and were really expansive.
Well, I think the right was on the wall in the first 10 minutes. They had 3 corners already.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, actually, this is Blackburn all over again. And actually, we've got the right formation. So let's hit him on the break. But our game was so slow. It was like we were playing in reverse. I mean, there was a time when Danjuma picked up the ball, and I think we had 3-on-3. By the time he decided what he wanted to do with it, he gave it to Lerma, and they'd reset back into their 4-5-1 or whatever they were playing. And it's just like the whole point of the 3-4-3 is to hit teams on the counter attack when the game's expansive. And we haven't done that since Blackburn. And baffling.
There are those little moments in the game, aren't there, where we turn the ball over, or we create a situation, then we just get this lack of accuracy or poor technique, or as you described, we get players taking 2 or 3 touches, going back inside, playing a ball back towards our own goal, and it's like they don't read the game very well. That's the impression I get. Or they've been overcoached and they want to kind of methodically go through the movements they're doing in coaching sessions.
Yeah, and that's a word you used under Eddie Howe as well. But I'm noticing the same things, I've got to say, because we look poor. I thought the midfielders weren't providing options. Even Sermon did this. I noticed that when Steve Cook had the ball, Chris Mepham or whatever, usually you'd have midfielders running towards the ball to try to collect it, but at times they were all running away, and quite often, even in the space that was in front of them and that was being created, maybe that was why they weren't driving into it. And that was a problem I found even when Jefferson Lerma had the ball as well. There was space to drive into, and it's almost like we're going through the motions. Let's get it wide. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's very formulaic, and there's no unpredictability at all. And our one unpredictable outlet in Dan Juma, like you said, Kirk, you have 1 week from him and he's brilliant, and then another week he just doesn't really know what he wants to do, and again guilty of overplaying it quite often.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said many a time, the thing is with Dan Juma, you would sort of want to keep him on the pitch because he can just score that goal from nowhere and get you a draw or get you a win. It's going to be a difficult couple of months for us to get through this spell. We have got a good squad, but we're not scoring enough goals and we're not creating enough chances and we're not clinical enough. And we can't change that until January. So we've got to try and find a way of scoring more goals. We've got to improve our crossing. We've got to improve our passing, because the long ball, where this has come from in the last 2 games, I have no idea what they're trying to achieve by that. I tell you what I would do, and I might be completely unrealistic because people think I am unrealistic, but I'd go and break the bank to go and get Jack Wilshere and give him what he wants. Even if you've got to put Billing on furlough, go and get Jack Wilshere and get some creative player in that midfield, because we need to score some goals. And people might think I'm daft.
No, but
he's still on a free.
I think Billing was on furlough last Saturday, wasn't he?
Tell me about Ivan Toney, who's another one of the players that you have linked us with. How's he doing, Kirk?
10 goals already, Yeah. So, he's a prolific. Let's say he was prolific in League 2. He was prolific in League 1. He's taken the step up to the Championship and he scored 10 goals already. He is a number 9 striker. He's a predator at 6.5 million and 4 million over 4 years. For me, I don't know the club finances. I'll be honest with you. We could have done that, I'm sure. We just brought in 80 million, so I'm sure we could have put 6.5 down. But I don't know the club that way. I just know tactically that it ain't working, and we haven't got a predator. And I tell you what, I'd wish we'd have kept Callum Wilson. He had a 3-year contract now. I thought we wouldn't miss him, but I am missing him right now.
So, yeah, Rich, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Well, other than the football, not too bad. No, to be fair, obviously I was with Steve last game, and it was saved by the goal. But other than that, it was nothing great. I mean, it's been coming, isn't it? I mean, I'm really hoping that this is the wake-up call that they need. And that they stop thinking they're better than everyone and actually start playing the football and getting the goals.
We seem to be letting other teams dictate the pace of the game. We used to do that, and we used to decide if it's going to be slowed down or played up tempo or whatever. Yeah. But now it seems to be everyone else. So we playing to the tune of everyone else, and that seems to be our downfall.
We are, but for years now, it's been the case that we always go into these games feeling really confident against the teams that are lower in the table, and then they don't turn up. But as soon as we play, let's say, Reading that are up there, we'll come and actually have an amazing game to them. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's overconfidence or something, but it's just the performances are not there against the lower half of the table for some reason. I just can't work out why this is. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like the players went on lockdown tonight, isn't it? It's very, very, very poor. What we'll do, Kirk, we're going to rotate. So Kirk and Ashley, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it. And nice to see you again, Ashley. Thanks for coming on, mate. Cheers. And yeah, Kirk, once again, cheers for coming on. Thank you very much. So someone's been calling for Morgan. He's coming. He's coming. Here he is. Morgan Scott's here. And also, we're going to bring in Dylan again. Daniel is standing by. Daniel, you're coming in next person. Okay, so Cammy, Morgan Scott.
Well, I thought I needed to give the fans, of the show a little message and, a bit of positivity and a laugh after that performance. Because
are you calling yourself Cammy as a piss take to Chris Temple, who didn't see the red card because he didn't seem to know that they had a player sent off?
No. We went through the pundits last season,
and
it's
a joke.
Absolutely.
We'll try that again. Yeah.
Tell you what, actually, Chris Temple had a bit of a blinder as well. He had, a bit of a mare because he kept saying like they're taking a throw and when they're taking a goal kick and.
And he also got quite. No offense. They were sat up in the gods apparently, but he didn't know that Sheffield Wednesday went down to 10 men after that kick out on Jefferson Lerma. And it's like,
are you even listening to me? That's what I just said. Never mind. Anyway, world of your own, Morgan. Honestly, you're like me. You're like me. I'm the worst for doing that. But anyway, let's talk about the game itself, Morgan.
Absolutely.
Go on, shoot.
Well, I used a number of words this season. After the Coventry game, I said horrendous. Yep. After QPR, I said average. Tonight, I'm going to say disgraceful. How many times do you want to give the ball away in midfield? How many times do you want to go backwards? Kirk is spot on in everything he's saying as per normal. To be honest with you, the analysis of the game was just, why? How many times can you give the ball away? 5 yards.
Well, that's what I have said in the last show before being shot down on Twitter for what the technique. Look, I understand that you can't be perfect, but surely to God, when you're playing quick 5 yard passes to feet, it's not that difficult, and it really frustrates me that we get into really good attacking positions. I mean, Dan Juma was, people said we were having to go at Billing tonight. I mean, obviously he wasn't included even in the squad tonight. So read into that, however you want as to what JT thought of him. But, Dan Juma tonight, I'm focusing on him as being a player that overplays it. And when he gets in these critical positions, he often made the wrong decisions. And you know what? When you know how technically gifted some of these players are and you know what they can do and you see him doing the opposite, it completely gets my goat.
Yeah, no, 100%, Sam. And I think, to be honest with you, there was not one Bournemouth player I could think of on that pitch that did AFC Bournemouth justice tonight. It was just a little bit of a situation. I think, they made a point, going up on a Monday night to stay in a hotel overnight. Yes, okay, but they flew up, so it wasn't like they sat on a coach for hours on end like the supporters would have had to done. So there's no excuses. And the only other factor you could say, playing games every 3 or 4 days, but that's the same for every club in the Championship, and we can't make that excuse. So Bournemouth just had an off day, I'm afraid, and apart from not being there, there's not much more positives that we can take by that performance. We can only hope it's going to give us a kick up the backside, and that we're going to turn up to St Andrews in a few days' time, on Saturday, that we're actually going to be able to pass the ball. Because if you can't pass the ball, you're not going to achieve to go up to the Prem again, are you?
Well, things are going wrong if we don't get a result at St Andrews. So, we're all looking at that thinking, and we need to see a reaction. And what I don't want to see is the same kind of performance and then a cheeky 1-0 win. Obviously, I'll take that. But it's the performances that I'm more interested in. And I know we're still fourth of the table, whatever, but look, this is a repeat of last season. And I keep on saying the same thing. Like, there were some podcasts that me and Jeff recorded where we were frustrated at some performances. I think it was after 8 games last season, we were 10th in the Premier League. and that's brilliant, top half. But our performances were really poor. And to me, the writing was on the wall when we couldn't get a result against Norwich, when we barely manufactured a shot on goal, when we played Sheffield United and we were absolutely diabolical. Yes, we beat Everton 3-1. Yes, we got that brilliant day at Saints, whoopie ping fizz. Apart from that, we, like the writing was on the wall. And it worries me at this early stage of the season, even when we're fourth and everyone says, well, we're going to get better. Well, that's okay then, because every other team's going to get worse. Of course they're not. Like, everyone's going to get better together or try to. So that point is nullified. You can't make that point because all teams will try to improve. So, but the basics are just missing. Sorry, Dylan has stayed quiet up until now, and we're going to ask him what he thinks. Dylan, how are you, buddy?
Why does King still play for this club? Every single week, I wonder why, because every single week he puts a poor performance like that in, and I don't know why he gets chosen. I would much rather have had Sri Lanka start that game before King today, because last week I noticed that when Sri Lanka was on the ball, he ran at players to try and create runs down the wings for Danjuma, Brooks, Stanislas. He actually tried to create a run. What did King do other than miss a header and miskick a ball? I don't get why he plays. I don't know what Tyndall sees in him, and I don't know what some of the fans see in him either. I mean, the defence tonight, shaky. Metham, Cook and Kelly must have played a 1-2 to each other about 30 times in a row and then lumped it up 50 yards.
Yeah, I was noticing a little bit of that. I mean, I saw elements of that in the last game, and you see almost hopeless balls, and I think it's maybe a sort of lack of two things. What I said earlier, midfielders not sort of offering themselves as balls to feet, like feasible outlets. I mean, as a centre midfielder, try to come short and try to pick up the ball and then turn and then drive forward with it. But when they're all running away, all you've got is basically let's play the ball out wide. But Sheffield Wednesday, to their credit, were pressing so much we couldn't even get the ball out wide. So it was the last hope. Ping the ball over the top, but when you're overpassing like Kelly did in that second half, I was just watching that with my head in my hands, thinking, "What the hell, Morgan? You look as though you want to speak."
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on Dylan's point about not playing Kin over Solanke. Yes, okay, Kin hasn't had his best games, but he hasn't had a lot of football. How many chances? You're either a lover of Solanke or you're a hater. Now, I've seen enough of Solanke to last me a lifetime because, okay, yes, he came off the bench and he did try and speed it up. I expect that from a substitute, but he's not a goal scorer. And if he's not a goal scorer, why would we want him on the pitch? With Kin, at least he does a lot more going forward than Solanke does. So it's hard to kind of understand why he would play Solanke over Kin, because we would all sit here and say, why is he not playing Kin? If he's not still at Bournemouth. The only other interesting point that I could make on the matter, maybe start giving Sam Savage a little go and seeing if he can give us a different option, because we tried Kin, we tried Solanke, and we're still not firing goals in the back of the net. And when you got people like Chris Meppen, Jack Stacey, and our back four scoring goals, that shouldn't be coming from the defenders. That should be coming from our attackers. And if we're not getting them in the goal from the top three, that's Danjuma. I know he got a few. David Brooks, who looks really rough, the worst performance I ever seen him play for us tonight. And then Josh Kin not scoring. Then maybe give Sam Savage a go and see if he can.
But he's not even in the squad, so
he's not even in the 18. Yeah,
what must he feel? I mean, Jason Tyndall's playing players based on what they've done in the Premier League, and not any evidence on this season. You have to say, because Brooks was poor tonight, really poor. Like I dread to see his player rating from Tom Jordan tomorrow, because I don't think it's going to be the good one and could be the worst score of the lot. I'm telling you. I don't know. Sorry, Rich, you were saying?
I think he had about two moments of the old Brooks tonight where he, but then he lost it at the end where he didn't pass where he would have done. But he did make a couple of passes actually in the first half, probably the only player that actually managed to get it to the player he wanted to pass to. But personally, again, from Dylan's comments, take him on board. But with King, I think he's getting there. I think he's come back from a timeout. I think he's starting to, obviously he's not scoring yet, but his hold-up play is still good. He's a strong guy. I know Solanke's hold-up play is good, but he's not quite as strong. But I think King will get there. I think he just needs the time. I know that, he shouldn't be. He's a Premier League striker. He should be banging them in. But he's also had to sit behind somebody like Callum Wilson or, people like that through the years since he's been at the club, apart from when Callum had the injury there. And then obviously, he did well for us. So he's got it in him. I think it will come back out.
Okay, we're going to switch it up. Rich, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Really appreciate it, mate.
Take care. Stay safe.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, thanks very much. And happy lockdown. And Dylan, also, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers. Please come in again next time, of course. Morgan, we'll leave you on for a little bit longer because you have got some anger in your eyes, and that usually means you've got something to say. We'll try Craig Beasley in a bit, but Steve Hensman is standing by, so we're going to bring him in next, and also a familiar face, by the way, of Mr. Podcast himself, Jeff Hayward. And Jeff, you look as though you've almost got your head in your hands there, mate.
Jesus, what was that? Baffling, just absolutely staggering. I think ultimately we were talking about this in the podcast last time. Rotation doesn't work. The players just didn't seem to know each other. The top three had no connection whatsoever. We were playing too deep. The midfield link-up play is awful. There's so many things wrong with that, and fundamentally, the coaching team have to take some responsibility for not seeing it and changing it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's we came across a little bit negative on the podcast, but Steve Hensman was one of them. He was basically nodding his head and saying, you were spot on. And Steve, what on earth did you witness tonight?
I don't know really, Sam. I'm not even sure I'm on, to be honest. I'm disillusioned beyond all belief. Jeff said it all. The coaching staff have got to take some responsibility for what we're seeing out there. It's not just the players. If they can't see that isn't working, and they look when Jeff pointed out about the rotation, there's no cohesion week to week. Formations change, players change. I know there's got to be some sort of rotation for fitness reasons, but the mainstay of the team, if you're doing well, it needs to be the same every week, or as near to that as you can get it. Because just like Jeff said, they looked like they didn't know each other. They looked like 11 strangers out there. And really, that was, everyone was saying it was our best team we've put out this season by far on paper. So I just don't know where to go with it.
We're all at a loss. And Morgan, before I let you go, because Daniel, who I was going to bring next, and I should have brought in, I'm going to put this question to you from Pete East, who said, would you guys back JT in the transfer market in January or wait to see if he's even here at the end of the season? As much as I love what he's put into the club, this form will not keep him in the job. The form wouldn't, because we'd be sort of, lower mid-table. And, Maxim's statement was, I'm committed to getting us back into the Premier League. I don't know what that commitment is. We haven't really signed. Okay, yeah, we've got Roro, Kelme, blah, 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 Carter Vickers. But other than that, you're not exactly the the spearheading figure that we think will, that Kirk was talking about, Jack Wilshere, for instance. I would love someone of his quality back, and he obviously wants to play. But thoughts on JT so far, Morgan?
Well, he's been undefeated since the West Ham game, as far as I can go back. I think that's correct. So obviously, the fact that we haven't lost until the 3rd of November 2020, a good start. However, apart from maybe the Blackburn game and the Coventry game that I had a bit of a nightmare, we haven't performed at the highest standards. The fact that we got a point to Derby on Saturday, aside in the bottom half of the table, I think they're in the bottom 3, and obviously tonight Sheffield Wednesday, obviously having the points deduction, they were obviously hungry to come out and beat us. However, it's not good enough. And if we want to get back into the top flight of English football, i.e. the Premier League, we're going to have to play a hell of a lot better. And that starts with getting a formation that doesn't get mucked around. In terms of rotation, yes, okay, I'm up for rotate. You don't want to be picking up silly injuries. You've got to manage the squad. They do it in the top 4 for the Champions League, Europa League, etc. And it's the same in the Championship. However, you don't make 5 changes. You don't come in and make 5 changes. Make a couple, but you don't make 5, because then you're changing half the team. Half the team have got to learn how to play in each different position, and it mucks it up. It's too inconsistent, and that's not a good team. And then it starts to get too confusing for the fact of the attacking third to link up with the midfield from the defence, and it all goes to a shambles. Tonight, it was like watching 11 Philip Billings at times.
God, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was in a way, because apart from maybe a couple of moments from Brooks where he actually did something for a couple of seconds, and maybe Kinney at times, but it was just like watching Billing. It was too slow. It's we got to do better on Saturday, and I'm going to shut up and get off here because my anger is starting to take over.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
have a nice evening, guys.
Yeah, I have to bring out the bleep machine in a minute. Yeah, brilliant stuff. And we'll come to Jeff shortly for his closing statement. But Daniel is over in the States, and he is a young Cherries fan. Daniel, hope you're okay today. What on earth did you think of that?
Very random. I never thought we were going to lose against the bottom league team. I'd rather lose against Reading, because they're in the top, so I will respect us losing against Reading, but not against this team.
Yeah, we've got a few issues in terms of the audio delay there, but we can hear you okay, mate. Who do you think had a good game today?
Steve Cook before the red card, and Jefferson Lermer, and Kelly was pretty good.
But other than that, we are, really struggling to name players. And we were looking at Dan Juma, we were looking at Brooks, we were looking at King as being I was, as I said to Tom, I was licking my lips at the excitement of that lineup, and then they just didn't deliver at all. Was it the case of this, the strikers just were too individual and they didn't play as a unit?
For me, it's just ever since the formation changed, no one really played the same. So I still thinking that over the few next games we could get better, but it's just harder for them to know, because we're always switching players. We're always switching players for the front. So it's really tough to know if we're gonna do good, because we switch players almost a lot. We switched David Brooks. He was injured. We switched him. I say David Brooks should have been middle, because he was not really that good. So I think he should be middle. And then this might sound crazy, but I think we should try one day Jefferson Lermer at the front, because I say he has been the best player in the team so far.
Daniel, food for thought. Thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Really appreciate it, mate. That was Daniel over there in the States. And he made some valid points. We're going to bring in Craig Beasley shortly. But Jeff, he made an interesting point there about David Brooks and the fact that, he's tied out there on that right-hand side, a bit like Harry Wilson used to be. And sometimes we've seen how effective he can be when he's in the middle. I mean, he almost played a centre midfield position in that last match against Derby, and he was actually quite effective at sort of pulling the strings in the middle. But it's almost like he's a bit, suffocated when he's pinned to that touchline.
Yeah, which was part of his issue under Eddie. Let's be fair, that sort of right winger, left-footed. I don't know. Those days are gone, I think. And I don't know. Fundamentally, I think it is down to pick your best, pick the players who are make the best team. Right, that's what football's all about. It's not flipping rocket science. And the problem is when you do that level of rotation, the players aren't sure of where they're playing. I mean, think about Lerma tonight. He was asked to play that defensive holding role that Lewis Cook would be playing, not the advanced role that he has been playing. So you think, okay, well, that's sort of upsetting him. Kelly was narked that he didn't get picked on Saturday. He comes in tonight. I don't think he was on his game brilliantly tonight. He certainly wasn't playing as well as he did in that second half against Bristol City. So that's destabilising him. Adam Smith's playing right wing back tonight instead of where he's been playing left wing back. You're mucking about with all the players. Their heads are in a different space. How can you get the combinations that we used to have? I mean, I remember the days when Harry Arter got the ball in midfield, didn't even look up, pinged it down the channel because he knew Callum Wilson would be there. Where's that sort of combination play? We're having to look up. We're not playing instinctively enough because we don't know where the players are, because we're not sure the positions, because the team's changing too much, because we're not keeping a settled enough side. Yeah. Sorry?
I said we've got no partnerships.
There's nothing. There's nothing, is there? So everybody has to take too long on the ball because they don't know where their teammates are, and you end up with what we saw tonight is not enough support play. The depth of the team, the where the back five were compared to where the front two were, and the depth in midfield. I mean, Sheffield Wednesday were having a party in the middle. They had so much space, and they're bottom of the flipping league. I mean, I could go on.
Yeah, you know what, Jeff? It's actually nice to have you on this show. It kind of feels like like on ITV2 when there's like Britain's Got More Talent presented by Bill Dommett, and then like, coming, it's like the big boys. It's like so you're coming into the podcast.
It's like podcast royalty.
I also felt that, mate, I wanted to come on tonight because I wanted to come on the back of a 3-0 victory and apologise for being so negative. But honestly,
that worked out well, Jeff.
That didn't work out, did it? I mean, we really delivered on negativity and freaking frustration tonight.
And you know what? In your right hand is a pen. That's how was a pen, and that's how much you've obviously been. You've been writing down stuff ahead of the podcast at the weekend. I'm sure.
I've been stabbing the screen.
Hopefully it'll be a better performance at the weekend to talk about.
Thanks for having me on.
And the podcast this week is live, Jeff, as well, isn't it? So it should be a good one. Cheers, Jeff Hayward. Thank you very much for coming on. Obviously very frustrated Jeremy over in the States, so we're going to be bringing him in now too. But Craig, hopefully you can hear us.
Can you hear me all right this time?
Oh, you know what? Crystal clear audio. Loving it, mate. That's really good.
Do you know what? I need to get some new headphones, so that's what I'm going to buy tomorrow. Need to sort that out. But how you doing, Steve? All right, mate?
Not bad, bud.
Yeah, good to see you again, mate. We had during 2 weeks ago, we had a 7-hour conversation, didn't we? I tell you what, honestly, we discussed everything. We discussed absolutely everything.
That's absolutely crazy, but it's great to hear the way this podcast is getting people talking, which is what we're hoping to continue over lockdown, because it's going to be a month of pain. But we're obviously going to carry on doing these, and every podcast that we do usually
it really helps, Sam.
We're gonna do that live as well. So that's all good. But Craig, you've heard what a lot of people have said. Have any points that you've heard tonight resonate with you?
Dan Juma was poor. Dan Juma was really poor. Brooks was off his game. I don't know why we didn't even start Stacey tonight. And the rotation side of things, we need to find a team that works in this division. Not the best team on paper, which is what we have done tonight. And let's be fair, last season, if you put that team in front of anybody and said, right, okay, that team's going to play Sheffield Wednesday, you'd say they'd wipe the floor with them. I thought Sheffield Wednesday were poor. I thought they were a poor side. I actually made a point on Twitter. I think Sheffield Wednesday will go down. With or without their points deduction. I think they're that poor. And
I agree. I thought they were the worst team we played.
Yeah, I do. And that makes it even more disappointing.
It's,
don't think JT's lost the dressing room or anything like that. I think it's rotating players too much. We've got to find a team that's settled. And believe it or not, I had a chat with my dad, and of course they're all up there in Reading, and they all support Reading, and they said the same about them. You know how they've rotated the team, and then there's a guy up there called Mate, Yaku Mate, and he's a bit of an Akinfenwa, a bit of a more athletic Akinfenwa, and they took him out of the team, took another couple of players out of the team, and it completely fell apart for him. My dad said it was terrible against Coventry. And what do? We do exactly the same. I was hoping to chip into their, advantage, really, today. We would have only been 2 points behind if we'd won today.
Yeah. Shocker. Absolutely shocker. Jeremy, what was your view from across the pond in North Carolina? How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you guys. Thanks again. I guess I don't have to talk about Dom Solanke, as we say here in the States, right, Sam?
Yeah.
But I do, and I couldn't talk about how you get Dobby from Derby. I've yet to understand that. But,
we've got an A in it, obviously.
Well, right, but you'll be surprised. About 20 miles from where I live is a place called Leicester, North Carolina. Yeah. Spelled like you guys in England, which is Leicester, right? But it's Leicester. So I don't know. I guess a Southern American like me, I'm a redneck, as we would say. So who knows?
That's all right being a Bournemouth fan.
At least you can pronounce us.
Listen, I haven't told you guys this, but the reason I picked Bournemouth, I'm waiting one Saturday morning for my college football team to play. It was in 2015, the first game of the year, the first time Bournemouth had made the Premier League ever. Yeah. And I said, they're red and black. My team is garnet and black at home, South Carolina Gamecocks. I said, they're on the South Coast. I'm from it's all these things. I said, I got to pull for these guys. So
it's a match made in heaven.
It is. And I love the club. I really do. And one thing I said before the season started, I said, everything's great, right? It's like a new marriage. Jason Tyndall, we're all happy. Hey, it's exciting. What's going to happen when there's adversity? And I think right now we're seeing this slow bleed, the draws that we've had of kind of a death by 1,000 cuts. And now we have a loss to a team we have no business losing to. And like you said, Sam, I looked at the team today before the game and thought, oh my goodness, this should be 3-4-0 at least. This team should blow through the championship. And I will say, though, I did not get to see any of it. This 2:00 my time when the game started. Yeah, I was working. I'm checking the score going, what in the world are we doing? And then I saw the red card and then the penalty, and I thought, oh my goodness. So I'm concerned, not that he's losing the dressing room, but I think there's so many individual players that know they are better than the championship, but they're not putting a shift in, as you guys say in England. And I tell my girls, they're tennis players, my daughters, and I say, look, winning and losing, that'll come, but as long as you play as hard as you can play with effort and tenacity, that's all that matters. In the end, the wins will come more than the losses. And I don't see that for us right now.
I think one thing, actually, in the Premier League, you do get a little bit more time on the ball than the Championship. And, Sheffield Wednesday did keep us under pressure tonight. And
they pressed.
But at the same time, they're not a very good side They got thrashed by Rotherham. They got beat by Wickham. We should be beating them.
But that's all they had, Craig. They didn't have anything really apart from a press. I mean, some of their play was calamitous at times, and ours wasn't much better.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
A few people are saying, defensively we've improved, but the goal that they scored, albeit it was via a penalty, but it wasn't all that in defence.
It's a long ball.
Yeah, well, exactly. Watford.
Yeah.
Cathcart, he found Sarr, and this was a ball over the top that found the feet of Windass or whoever it was, and then Steve Cook, reckless. Some people saying soft penalty. It was a pen.
Do you think Cookie should have gone? Because I think it should be a yellow, but I don't think it should. I think it was penalty. I think it was yellow, but definitely not red.
I don't know. I mean, if he hadn't have done it, I think the striker would have probably been through on goal, and then he was going wide, but not that wide, and I think he could have put it in the back of the net. And in that case, goal scoring opportunity, probably the right decision. But I don't know. It's very tricky. What we can do is do another quick swap, Craig. So we're going to bring Louis in, but Craig, thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Really appreciate it. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Steve. Speak to you soon, mate.
Good to see you,
mate. All
the
best, guys, and you as well, mate. Speak
not too long.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. And then Louis is going to come in as well. And you know what? We've been on for nearly an hour, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then you can all wait till next time to take part. Hopefully, it'll be a bit of a more exciting show. Louis, 1-0 to the Owls. No one thought that. Did you put that on your Super Six? I didn't.
No. It wasn't a question of who was going to win tonight. I was just thinking how many.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that Jason Tindall? He probably thought, you know what, I'm going to pick my best and most experienced squad on paper in terms of Premier League performances or whatever. So you've got your Josh Kings, your David Brooks, etc. So you've got the players that have done it before. You've got the experience of Lerma and Gosling. You've got certain players like Rico and Smith, rather than putting Jack Stacey, who was blooded towards the end of last season. It just didn't work. I mean, rather than play the players that sort of tessellate well, you're playing players of high value that just didn't work together on the pitch and gel whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe could have done with having Dom up front there, I think, tonight. But
yeah, you know what? I'm just checking my Super Six actually, and Steve, I'm having a good week. Steve, I'm having a good week. So far,
I'm not.
It's gone all over the place. I had 16 at one point, and now and then I went down to 4.
God, Liverpool won 5-0 at Atlanta. Wow.
I'm over here, Sam, hearing the word tessellate, thinking that's a $5 word, man. That's way too heavy. I don't even know what that means.
That's a Bournemouth School for Boys education there. Ridiculous.
Did anyone predict 6-2 for the Bayern game?
No, my God. Was that 6-2? Yeah.
It was 2-2 with about 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I predicted 3-0 to Man City. Got 5 points for that, but yeah, I did all right. How did you do, Louis? Because you're doing all right this season.
No, I started well, but I've been slipping away. I'm on 8 points. I was on 16 earlier. I'm now on 8 points. So
yeah. So
going back to the game.
Yeah, where do we go from here then, Steve?
Well, Louis just said that it was a case of how many did we think we were going to win that by tonight? And I wonder, the players have got that mentality that they're just going out there and they think they're going to win these games just by turning up, because Sheffield are bottom of the league. They are a poor side, and we went out there with our best team, what we thought was our best team, and it stank to me of. I mean, like we said, Dan Juma, Brooks. Yeah, complacency. There was. Yeah. Brooks was just so slow on the ball. I mean, it's pedestrian almost, and it's almost like they think they're going to turn these teams over with before they've even kicked the ball. And I think that's a mentality that's been there the whole season. To be honest.
So did we mention the Jason Tindall interview? What he said?
No, go on, Louis.
No.
He said we were a team out there who thought they could turn up and just win with their ability without showing any fight. So I think that pretty much sums up how we played.
And I certainly hope he gets that.
But it's down to JT and the coaching staff to get that mentality out of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, we can't keep saying it's all the players' fault and singling out him, her. No, one or another, and they've got to take some responsibility for it.
So, I mean, unless I've heard otherwise, I don't think I have in terms of Philip Billing, in terms of why he wasn't included. Not sure if that's been mentioned at all, but he had a poor game against Derby, and now he's not even in the squad. Do you think, if you were going to make that decision with a couple of players and not even put them in the squad, Steve, are there any 2 players or 2 or 3 that you think, you know what, you're not even going to make the 18?
What, based on tonight or generally this season?
Well, just based on tonight.
What, moving into the next game? Who would I drop next game after that performance?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, I would. Honestly, David Brooks. Yeah, Brooks. We've all been shouting for Brooks, and he looked good when he came on the other against in the last game. Sorry, I can't remember who it was now. Derby, yeah, and he injected a bit of oomph into the performance, and we got the goal back. But tonight it was just lethargic. I think Mepham had a shocking first half. He was falling over all over the place. It was long balls. Kelly wasn't much better. There was a lot of abject performances. I don't think you could really tonight say there was just 2 that were. It was poor all around the pitch. Not more to say, to be honest.
James, by the way, Super 6. James, can you let me know where I am? Because hopefully I'm out. I'm hoping to be in the top 100 now at least. But yeah, if you got a table, do let me know. Jeremy, we'll finish with some kind of positivity.
Come on, Jeremy.
Give me something. Give me something.
Yeah, come on. Anything.
Well, I'm impressed, Sam. It looks like, are you drinking a Budweiser? Is that?
I am.
Wow, you're going.
We all are.
What is it? Is this to celebrate today's election? I mean,
it's a podcast. Yeah. Other beers are available.
Well, there's a lot better beer available too, Steve. So anyway, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it was cheap.
Yeah, it was on offer. But yeah, give us some positivity, Jeremy.
Well, I think the positives are obviously the talent. We do have the best talent. I still believe that. However, and far be it for me to speak on tactics, because I played baseball growing up. I did not play football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. And so I don't understand what you guys understand about the game. But why we insist on playing it out from the back still to this day blows my mind, when it's obvious, like others have said, teams figure us out. They play a high press. To me, it's similar to basketball. If you're running a 2-3 zone in basketball and teams are killing you, you got to switch it up to a man defense, right? Or if they're killing you on the break, you got to start pressing when they're bringing the ball out of bounds. And we seem like we are hell-bent on doing what we do in practice, like you mentioned, Steve, right? Like, or coaching. It's like we've coached it. That's what we're doing. We're not doing anything different. And I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about formations and tactics, but I think I figured us out. And I just wish we would try something different and not wait until halftime to make a change. So, but the positive, Sam, is we do have the best talent. And if we get on a roll and get some momentum, I think we're good enough to knock five or seven in a row off and shoot up the table and get more comfortable. So,
brilliant, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good to see you guys. Thanks again for this opportunity. I love this. It helps people like me over the pond participate. It means a lot. Thanks, Sam.
Good man. Yeah, always welcome, mate. Anytime. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And yeah, my shy evening has just got worse. Thanks, James. 107th. But I'm climbing because I think I was about 128th. Steve, 14th.
Where am I?
14th. 14th.
No. It's easy, isn't it, this thing?
What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah,
Sam, at the end of the day, the only accolade is I'm the best at guessing.
Yeah. I bet you're great. I bet you're pretty good at Guess Who. Like, is it Maria from the very start? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Cluedo, I'm amazing at.
Yeah, Cluedo, Professor Plum in the study. Steve, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, mate.